What are we talking about today, Cody? I can hear you. I can hear you on the other side of the screen demanding information on what we're going to talk about. And guess what, guys? I don't know. Okay? Is that okay? Are we okay with that? Is that fine? Are you okay? Is it okay if we don't know what we're going to talk about today? Yes. It's fine. It's fine if you don't know what you're going to talk about. When you start recording your YouTube video for the channel where all you do is talk. Okay? You don't need your whole life planned out, man. You don't need every video planned out. You don't need every day planned out. You don't need a 50-year life plan, okay? Can we all relax a little bit? Okay, chill out. Life is a magical adventure where you never know what's gonna happen next, and maybe it's okay if we sometimes start a video where we don't know what we're gonna talk about. Huh? Is that okay? Is that okay with you guys? Are you okay with that? Great. I'm glad you're okay with that. Because that's how it's happening today. So, I started this video off. There's been a lot of vitriol. I started very aggressively. You probably feel a little bit antagonized right now, and I apologize. You know. I'm capable of making mistakes. And you shouldn't hate me for that. Because if you think about it, you're just hating yourself. Right? If you hate me for making mistakes, you might not realize I'm actually just a little bit of an expression of what you think about me. There's no way to understand me from your perspective without filtering my whole personality through your personality. So if you are ever watching any of these videos and you find something that you dislike about me, I just want you to know I don't embody the character trait that you're mad at, okay? There is residual personality from your end that you're criticizing and attributing to me because it's the easiest object for your criticism to latch onto, okay? That doesn't make it fair. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it good. That doesn't make you a moral person, okay? That just means that you don't understand the ways in which your hatred of me is really just an expression of self-hatred against yourself, which is totally not needed. You're a wonderful person, I'm sure. Unless you're not. If you're watching this and you know you're a bad person, get off my channel! Leave me alone. You're a bad person. I don't want to hang out with you. You're not very cool. And, you know, that's fine. That's fine. Here, truly understand that, you know, not everybody's meant for everybody, okay? Not everyone's gonna get it, alright? For me, for you, for anyone, you know. No one is gonna like everyone. No one is gonna be liked by everyone. And if you have a problem with somebody, you can just say, "Hey man, I got some weed to smoke. I'm dipping. Goodbye. Goodbye. I'm probably not coming back. You weren't that cool to talk to." See? You can do that. You can do that and turn away and leave the conversation, alright, if you're mad. If you're not mad, and the ramble that you've just sat through is seeming to you like a kind of defense mechanism from me to, you know, kind of ward off any potential criticism of my incredibly antagonistic and aggressive opening there, you're not too far off. The good thing The good thing about me, though, is that I'm very self-conscious about the defense mechanism that I just implied, wherein I insulted anybody who didn't appreciate the video introduction, putting them in a position where they have to try and parse out whether they don't like me or whether they don't like themselves. Meanwhile, I'm really obviously not much better, because without even knowing who I'm addressing, I'm kind of just acting like I already know the person on the other end of the screen who objects to my, objectively poor video introduction. I am obviously just assuming that person hates themselves, which may not be the case. So what was the point? What was the point of the whole thing? I don't know. And sometimes, hey man, sometimes that's just life, okay? It's totally okay. Just vibe. Just vibe a little bit, all right? Let's be clear. You had no control over, clicking on this video, finding yourself with this in your algorithm. Maybe the thumbnail popped out to you, right? You are just kind of a spiritual voyager in a physical human body that can't make heads or tails of reality, okay? No one knows what's going on. Nobody gets it. Nobody can make sense of it. And no one's gonna figure it out ever, alright? Life is a series of events and problems and people, and they all collide in really messy ways that it's almost impossible to extrapolate any potential meaning, any real solution, and, that's okay. Hey, it's as God intended, unless you don't believe in God, in which case, whoa, well, good luck. Explaining the universe without God, right? And look, I don't really believe in God. Not really, part of me almost hopes. Part of me almost hopes that God's real. And weird enough, I still find myself having faith in some sense of divine presence, which is weird as a person who doesn't really believe in God. Here, what my big problem is with God is that he's a human invention, right? Because what's really weird to me about a bunch of religious stuff is that it's a bunch of people, openly expressing the fact that humanity needs to be humble because we don't know everything, and then we have, large areas where we need to improve how we treat each other, how we treat the world around us, and meanwhile, these same people who are seemingly hell-bent on the notion that, every single human being is, very flawed, then turns around and offers an unlimited amount of devotion to a concept that was clearly created by the same exact flawed version of humanity, if not more flawed version of humanity. And so it's okay, so you at both points want me to, almost incessantly reference my own shortcomings, but then also don't actually want to engage with the fact that anybody who helped, pass down this, story of God is inherently, morally corrupt, sinful, human being that is, just as viable to have mistaken perceptions or terrible motivations. And I just, if we're gonna criticize all of humanity, that's actually also should be reflected onto God himself, right? Because, that's the other thing. If we were made in God's image, and we are like this, what does that say about God? Huh? Do you actually want to engage with that? Because that's the thing, too, is, like, I think there are a lot of, like, religious people who want to have, like, faith in God and all this other stuff, but then you have conversations like this, which are actually just, like, very legitimate questions about God, and they try to shut you down. So, keep asking questions. You know, sometimes life's a mystery, and that's not sometimes, that's all the times, baby! So, have a good day, have a good night, have a good whatever, you know how it is. Maybe you don't believe in days, okay? I'm starting to not. Alright. Have a peace out, everyone! Thank you, the internet, for spending some time with me. I really appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you want to hear more. Maybe you don't. I can't blame you for that.